Okay, so we're hanging on for others to join us. Um, let's just wait a bit more for for people to join in. We'll show up here. Okay, I can see Tayo Bikoya. Children, thank you for joining us. It's so good to see my people coming online. Yep, you can hear us. All right, thank you very much. I think we should just get started. Um, our other friends will join us shortly. Um, okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Q&A with the nonprofit coach. I call it an edutainment show because it's educational. It provides insight into how nonprofits operate, how social enterprises operate, how faith-based organizations are supposed to run as organizations. And we also, as much as possible, want to make sure it is as entertaining as possible. Um, um, it runs for 60 minutes, and we're expecting a whole lot of people to come on. We received loads of questions, and I must really thank those of you that were kind enough to join us on this show last week. That's last week Friday. We do this every Friday in June, and if we get great feedback from people who come and join us, we are considering extending it into the month of July as well. So, who am I? My name is Femi Martins, as most of you already know, and I'm a nonprofit consultant. I have over a decade experience in working with nonprofits, managing nonprofits, consulting for nonprofits, and I make bold to say that we've made quite a number of contribution, in helping people. So before we proceed, I want you to please invite as many people as you are. Remind people of non-profit organization and a, a for-profit business. So one thing we did not remember to do to address last week, and perhaps because nobody also asked the question. I'm trying to pull up a document on my system, and because nobody bothered to ask that particular question, has to do with social enterprises. Where do social enterprises sit? In the whole of this, where do they sit? How do we categorize them? I'm aware that some of you already know what a social enterprise is. So that's what we're going to start with today. We're going to differentiate between non-profit organizations and social enterprises. After that, we'll move into the guest expert session. So the audio is breaking. Let's see. Um, okay. Okay. We're going to reconnect now. So after that, we'll move into the guest expert session where Youth Rescue, thank you for joining us. RJ Udeboy, thank you for joining us. So as I was saying, after this, after we address the difference between the NPOs and the social enterprises, we're going to go into the guest expert session where we'll be hosting a lady that I've known for about 2 years. She's a safety consultant. She's a social entrepreneur. She's a non-profit expert. She wears many hats. She's going to talk us through very important in this COVID-19. I don't call it post-COVID. I call it COVID-19 because we are still in the era. So we're addressing post-COVID-19 reopening requirement for faith-based organizations. Post-COVID-19 reopening requirement for faith-based organizations. So this is going to be quite beneficial for anyone who is concerned about how our churches will be able to cope at this time. Is it safe for me to go to church? Should I even bother myself going to church at all? Right? And as a church owner or maybe an exco in church, what do you need to do? Or in the mosque, religious organizations generally, we're going to address that as well in today's episode of the program. And finally, on today's show, we're going to share tips on how you can determine if your organization is actually making an impact. I know there are lots of organizations out there who are actually busy. They're involved in one activity or the other, but they do not know whether or not their organizations are making impact. So we're also going to address that in today's episode. In about 6 minutes from now, I'm going to bring on Ogochukwu Eze, our guest expert. But before then, let me quickly address the question that I got from a number of people. Meanwhile, I need to mention that you are at liberty to post your questions on the screen. Today, we may not be able to bring you in live on the show because we already have a guest expert that is coming on. So we hope that you can text your questions and post, and we can read that from the screen as well, from wherever you are. Okay, so I have a question here that says, are all NGOs non-profits? How are they supposed to survive? What if there is no donation or grants? Can they sell their services? This is like 4-5 questions all put together into one. Are all NGOs non-profits? How are they supposed to survive? What if there is no donation or grants? Can they sell their services? I have another similar question here on my tab, which says, last week you said a small business and a non-profit are pretty much the same. I really didn't get that, but couldn't get to ask a question. Can you now explain the difference between a small business, a social enterprise, and a non-profit? Okay, so let me put these two questions together to address what I said earlier on, the difference between a non-profit organization as well as a social enterprise. I'll start with the similarity. The similarity is that they are both corporate organizations, right? They've gone beyond just an individual doing their own thing. They are both corporate organizations. They are both set up for a purpose, right? So that's like a similarity. The basis of operation largely remains very similar. There are certain principles that guide the process of doing business anywhere in the world. And it is not any different for non-profit organizations or social enterprises or for profit organizations, right? So the principles remain the same. So that's the similarity. So when I say that they are not different in any way, I'm actually referring to the principles that guide both organizations. For example, you want to, in a for-profit organization, you want people to buy product and services. What you need to do first is to go and research, what do the people need? And when you get what people need, you are able to then produce to their needs. That is when you get a ready market, right? But whereby you now go and produce and you now force people to want to buy what you have, then you're going to have major issues getting them to buy from you. So it's the same principle. The non-profit organization, you are researching the needs of the people and you are then coming up with a way to meet that need and to get them to and to get solutions across to them, right? So that is what and how it works on the non-profit. Now let's look at social enterprise. A social enterprise fall into both categories, but it tilts more to the side of the for-profit organizations. The social enterprise, as the name implies, is an enterprise, that is a business that is addressing a social problem. So while a non-profit organization relies on grants, donations, and what have you to run their mission, a social enterprise relies on selling their product and services in order for them to raise money to address the need. So let me give an example. Let me start an example. Maybe in a particular community, there is limited access to healthcare, right? While an NGO or a non-profit organization will come to that community and then source for funds to set up like an health center or hospital, and then provide services for free, right? The social entrepreneur would rather come into that space, get those we call impact investors or social investors to come pull money together, set up the hospital, right? Now, they will then charge a token. It might be a subsidized fee, but they are providing solution to a social problem in a commercial way. Their registration is also different. So while you have the non-profit organization registered as an NGO, an NPO with the Corporate Affairs Commission, the social enterprise can register as a limited liability company. They can also register as an enterprise or a venture, right? And then social enterprise is for profit. It's just that while they are gunning for their profit, they are also after making sure that they solve a particular social problem. Okay, so simply put, the model that a social enterprise runs is one that allows them to make a profit, while the model that a a non-profit organization runs is one that allows them to make surplus, not profit. So whatever they have left at the end of the day is such that they cannot take it out of the business. It stays in the business. I hope I've been able to address that question. Let me cite one more example before I bring Ogo on to the show. Um, you must have heard of Tom Shoes. Tom Shoes is a company that produces shoes, and they came into existence when I think they sent two of their representatives to a particular country where they had no shoes. So upon their return to the company, what they did was to then look for they set up a model to solve that problem of no shoes. At the same time, they needed to run sustainably. So they can't go ahead and start giving the shoes out for free, but they devised a way to ensure that they're able to get the shoes out at a token, right? So it's a social enterprise model and not a non-profit model. I'll give you another example. So before I leave the Tom example, Tom Shoes is making money, right? They are making money from that model. At the same time, they are solving a social problem. Now, remember that the key thing is the profits angle, because I know that some NGOs also have products and services, like we discussed last week. However, when they make profit for whatever reason, they cannot take it out of that business. It stays in the business. But when a social entrepreneur makes profit, they are allowed to pull it out of the business. They are allowed to have a board that can get some token, that can get paid, right? So a social enterprise is a commercial venture, a commercial entity that is trying to solve a social problem, right? The third example is that of the Solar Sisters, but I'm going to leave you to go and read that up on the internet so that I won't give you all the answers. So go and check out Solar Sisters on the internet. Read about the solution they are bringing to communities around Nigeria. Okay, so at this point, like I said, you can send in your questions as we go on to the next phase of the show, right? I'd like to bring in Ogochukwu Eze at Ogo Eze at Ogo Eze at Ogo Eze. Please send. Okay, at Ogo Eze. Okay, I'm bringing you in right away. How many of you read my post about who Ogo Eze is? How many of you read my post on Instagram? Hello, Ogo. How are you? I think the sound is a bit low, or is it from my own end? Okay, let the viewers tell us if they can hear you. Trying to see. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, clearly.
Okay. I think I can hear you clearly now too. Yes, I can hear you clearly. I can hear you clearly. Welcome to the Q&A. Good evening. Q&A with the non-profit coach. So people, let me quickly read something about Ogo. Let me read something about our profile. Yes, I said I was going to set her up today. So Ogachukwu is a seasoned health, safety, and environmental consultant with many years of experience. She leads operations at Menis Consulting, a health, safety, and environmental training and consulting firm in Lagos. And she is the founder, executive director of CPR Ready Niger, and that is at CPR Ready Niger, a non-profit organization with a mission to reduce death by cardiovascular disease through continuous prevention of the disease. She does a lot of advocacy. Now, Ogo has a master's degree in environmental management. She's got certifications in occupational health and safety. She's a level 3 HSC competency certificate by the Institute of Safety Professionals of Nigeria. She's a social sector management expert. She's a licensed basic life support instructor by the American Heart Association. So she's not a small babe. She is a big babe. So Ogo, please say hello to us and to all of our viewers out there.
Hello. Okay, this is the new setup. Hello, everybody. Good to be here. I'm glad to be here. Don't mind my tired eyes. It's been a very busy period for us in the field of health and safety. So, yes, I'm here and I'm glad to be here. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Femi.
Awesome. You're welcome once again. So for those of us who want to know Ogo's handle, it is at Ogo Oeze. Ogo Oeze, Ogooeze, right? Okay, so let's move straight on into the question and answer segments. It is still the Q&A, but it's just that we are now streamlining it towards a particular topic based on the demands of a lot of our followers. Now, we are aware of the Lagos State's plan. I'm saying Lagos State now because I reside in Lagos and you reside in Lagos as well. I'm sure that there are other states in Nigeria that also are faced with this challenge. A lot of religious organizations have been told to resume. In Lagos State, for example, on the 19th of June, the mosque will be open for prayers on Friday. On the 21st of June, churches are allowed to go back to the church. I know that the Lagos State government had put certain rules and regulations out there, right, to safeguard citizens. However, I believe that there is still a lot to learn, especially from the safety angle. And by the way, viewers, we are doing this today because churches and mosques are under faith-based organizations, and that's a type of non-profit organization. I know that a lot of people do not know this, but faith-based organizations are also non-profit organizations by registration, by their structure, and they are also expected to behave that way by their operations. However, whether or not they behave that way is a talk for another day. So let's focus on what we have today, safety concerns around this resumption. So please, Ogo, I would like you to just give a background about this whole thing, and then other questions will follow. Thank you.
Okay. Lagos State is actually the center of this whole pandemic for Nigeria, and that's why we are the forefront of all the guidelines, all the strategies for prevention of COVID-19 and the cure and everything. We have the highest number, we have the largest, most functional isolation centers and all. Okay, so recently the Lagos State government, led by our governor, Sanwo-Olu, initiated an initiative called Register to Open Initiative. And the whole thing is to ensure that religious centers, yes, will be asked to open. We know that we have large gatherings at these centers. If there's any place that will have quite a number of people coming together, it's religious centers and schools. We're not talking of schools now. Religious centers are social centers. By social centers, they mean all the clubs, nightclubs, social clubs, spa, gym, hotels, everywhere. So